Hey guys, it's me again. Doing a bit of a catch-up video today. A little bit of a story time video thrown in probably as well. You know, you guys know I like to talk. So yeah, we're gonna just chat about my life really. This is what this channel's about. Um, I went to the doctor's yesterday. In my last video, the one I did in my car, I talked about going to the doctor's. That was on Monday. Today, when I'm filming this, is Tuesday. Yeah, the doctors. That was interesting. Yeah, I wish I had a little bit more positive things to say about that doctor's video, but you know, this channel is about my life, so I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It was a bit of a disaster, really. That doctor's appointment. I thought it was well. I was hoping it was going to go quite well. However, after the last one, if anyone's watched my first video, my coming out story kind of video, then you'll know that the last doctor's appointment that I had talking about my tics didn't exactly go to plan. So I wasn't expecting the world from this one either, and yeah, I shouldn't have, because I was proved right. So to break it down, what happened? Just getting comfy. Yeah, so I had a woman doctor. I got there, it was at 2:30, and I got there and she was about a quarter of an hour late. So like I was in the waiting room and I was like stressing myself out, and my tics got really bad. Just thinking about it, and I was like literally like near sweating in this little waiting room, like, you know, doing this and like trying to like calm myself down. And yeah, so I got in there and I started talking to her, and I was thinking, do you know, this doctor, it was a woman doctor, and she seemed really like, at first she seemed really positive about it, and like, you know, like really wanting to hear my side of the story. And I say, you know, look, I think I've got a nervous twitch, I've got some tics, I want to see if I can figure out what, you know, what's up. I want to see if I can, you know, is it just a tic? Will I grow out of it? Is it Tourette's? What is it? And she was really useful. Like at the beginning, she was asking me, she was talking to me about like, you know, when I'd had it, and she was writing like notes down and stuff like that. And yeah, she was really good at the start. And then, so like last time, I kind of going into the doctors. I don't know what it is. I think it's just the 17 years worth of me suppressing it down in public situations really backfires when I'm in a doctor's, because like I suppressed it down again. And I remember I chatted to some of my close friends, and I was like, you know, guys, do I make sure that she knows what I have, or do I, you know, try and suppress it again? And they were like, no, just, you know, sort of make her aware of what tics you have. Try not to, I know it's completely against what you've always done, but try and, you know, make her aware of which ones. Don't sort of ham it up in a way, so then she understands. And I did try and do that, but it's really, really hard to try and do that after you've spent God knows how many years trying to not do it. And I didn't do a very good job, and it backfired again, really, if I'm going to be honest. Got to about 10 minutes into it, and she kind of started looking at me like this, and she was like, yeah, when I was like saying how it like affected my life, and she was like, really? And I was thinking, oh no, here we go again. And then so the first warning signal I got was when she asked me to like start pointing them out and showing her which tics I did. And I don't know what to make of this. I kind of, you guys give me some feedback here, because I didn't know if it was coming from if it was coming from a place of understanding, and she just wanted to see, because I was sort of subconsciously suppressing it in my head. Like I think the only one that I was conscious that I was doing was my eye blink. So she started trying to get me to point them out, and I was there, you know, like I've got a twinge in my neck, and I scrunch this side of my face up, and then like I look off to the right and I shake my head and that kind of thing. But I kind of felt like it might just be the fact that it's still my biggest insecurity, but I kind of felt like she was treating me a bit like a, I don't know, I felt like I was being a bit dehumanized doing it. Like I felt like a bit, I don't know, like I felt kind of like I was being treated as a freak show, basically, is what I'm getting at. and that's a horrible way to put it, but it's the only way I felt in the room. Like, I felt like I was being treated like a freak show, and I'm not, and no one who has this problem is. I just want to make that abundantly clear. We're normal people, like I said in my first video. But yeah, she started to ask me to do that kind of stuff, and at this point I was like, oh, here we go, it's going downhill again, because I could just see it coming. And then, like, so I'm crying at this point as well. I got in, and about 5 minutes after, when she started talking to me about how it had affected my life, I literally just started bawling into tears, because I always do when I start to talk about this. Yeah, she could see it was getting me quite upset, but she kept pushing and kept pushing and kept pushing. And we got about 10-15 minutes into it, and she was like, I clearly understand that it's affecting your mental health and stuff. Have you had counselling for it? And I was thinking, well, yes, yeah, I have, yeah. It wasn't about that at the time, but I did mention it to my old counsellor, and she, you know, she didn't have the training to know really what to say to me. So I mean, my old counsellor was great about it. She was just like, you know, I would go and see if you can get this sorted out, which I didn't do at the time, but you know, she was great with me. So this doctor was like, she sort of took it down more of a mental health route and was just like, oh, you know, maybe it's your anxiety, maybe it's this, maybe it's that. And I'm thinking, well, yeah, but also I don't, you know, I can be completely relaxed. I'm not anxious at all, and I'll still be doing it. Like, I don't think it's just that underlying cause. So she said to me, at this point it was about 20 minutes in, I think, and I think that she was getting to the end of like her slot, her like allotted time, and she said, oh, okay, so I'll like send off a letter thing to mental health NHS thing we've got in the UK, but I'm not really sure if I'm not really sure what you want out of this, is what she said. I'm not really sure what you want out of this. And I was just like, well, I want someone to like look at me and go, you know, this is what's up with you. I want someone to, you know, say you're not just crazy. You know, there's something up with you. You need to, you know, we're gonna help you with this. And I just felt a bit flabbergasted after she'd asked me that. And so she said she sent this letter, and she said, oh, so they'll get back to you in maybe 6 to 8 weeks. And I was like, what, 6 to 8 weeks? And she was like, yeah, but if they, you know, maybe don't expect a reply. And I was thinking, right, okay, so I might not get a reply. Can I reapply for them to, you know, give me a doctor's appointment? And she was like, no, you can't. So that was all that, you know, that's all she told me. She was just like, oh, okay, so I'll send this letter off to this group of people, basically to try and get rid of me, I feel like, just to make something constructive out of this whole doctor's appointment. But yeah, they might not reply to you, and even if they don't, you can't reply back. And she also said these great things to me. This is when I was pretty much bawling my eyes out, like, properly. And she was like, she said to me, quote unquote, like, if you're, I've got like the little notes of what she said here, because I wanted to remember everything. And she was like, if you're looking for someone to like understand you, and to, you know, if you're looking for a diagnosis and someone to tell you what's up with you, you're looking for something that doesn't exist. That is literally what she told me. And I looked at her, and I just literally, like, I'm glad I brought a packet of tissues with me in my coat pocket, and I literally went through like half a packet. Sorry, I'll beat that out. Yeah, and like, oh, and she said, she said, this was great. So she basically said that most of the time, like, if you're a kid and you have tics, then like a lot of kids get diagnosed at an early age because their schools tend to point it out to the parents, and then, you know, they'll go and get checked out, and like it'll become clear if they have, you know, Tourette's or whatever. And she basically phrased it as like, you know, most people with Tourette's or a nervous twitch or whatever get diagnosed when they're children because their schools point it out. And I said to her, I must have said this to her about 3 or 4 times, you know, the school that I went to was in the back end of nowhere. They had plenty of other stuff to think about. And my school did know, like, they'd mentioned it and stuff like that, but it's not the school's problem to, you know, they'd mentioned it, and I'm pretty sure they'd mentioned it to my mum and dad, but nothing was done about it because it's not really the school's point to do anything. And at that point, those of you who know me will know that I'm allergic to artificial colourings and flavours. So I don't know if any of you guys in the UK remember when Blue Smarties went off the shelves back in the day. It must have been like early 2000s, something like that. From what I understand of that, it was because Jamie Oliver, the chef, he was like, he realised that the schools were like pumping numbers and stuff into kids, and that's why people were like, kids were getting bad behavioural problems. And he was like, hang on a minute, right, let's take this stuff out of school meals. So like stuff like turkey Twizzlers and the bright fluorescent jellies that you used to get in schools, they don't happen anymore. They're not full of numbers and stuff like that. And my school was like, I used to eat school dinners, and I remember my mum and dad coming in again and again and again, because I was always getting into trouble because I was so hyped up on all of these numbers, that my school threw out every single thing that they could possibly think of to say what was up with me. And yeah, and so I think the fact that I twitched, like, considering it's so common with children, I don't think that was the main priority that they had in mind with me. So yeah, this doctor saying, you know, the reason she basically was saying that she doesn't think I have it because I wasn't diagnosed as a child, because my school should have pointed out and I'd have got a diagnosis, which I thought was absolute rubbish, because, you know, having Tourette's or not having Tourette's is not hinged on the fact that your school points it out. You know, if your school's really bad, my school wasn't bad at all. My school, I loved my school. But, you know, if you go to a really bad school, they're not going to bother, are they? They're not going to bother making sure, you know, every single child that goes through their doors has a diagnosis, just in case, you know, if they have tics, they're not going to bother making sure everyone has a diagnosis. That's not what school's meant to do. But yeah, so she said that, and then she rounded it off. By this point, like, tears were flowing. She rounded it off with basically saying that, oh, you know, you've told me about all these ways that you try and, like, sort of manage it, and you seem to be doing very well. You've done it for like 17, 18 years. And then she was literally like, well, maybe it's not something, you know, doctors or anyone can help you with. Maybe it's about you learning to live with it. Maybe it's about you learning to live with it like someone lives with asthma. That is what she told me. That is literally, quote unquote, what she told me. She was like, yep, maybe you should just learn to live with it like some people learn to live with asthma. And she kept hammering on about it. I think she mentioned people living with obesity as well, and possibly even diabetes. I can't really remember, like, I think it was those two. I can't remember, but she definitely said asthma. And I thought to myself, I really thought like saying to her, hang on a minute, wait. People that, you know, are diagnosed and have to live with asthma often have things that help them deal with asthma, you know, the little things, inhalers and stuff, you know, like, you can't compare a twitch or Tourette's or tics or whatever to asthma. Like, how ignorant and uneducated is that? So at the end of it, I try and be polite, even if people are being outright rude and outright ignorant to me. I'll still try and be polite to them. And I got to the end. I got to the point in this doctor's chair where I was like, this is what, third tissue in or something. And I managed to look up to her, like look her in the eyes, and was just like, okay, all right, thank you, goodbye. Got my stuff and just left. Made sure she sent the letter. I don't know if she sent the letter, to be fair. I'm not holding out for anything from the NHS really, but I made sure she'd sent this letter to whoever she sent the letter to, and then just sort of walked out. And yesterday after that, like, I went and did some work after, like, I walked to my other university campus. My university campus is split into two campuses, so I walked from one to the other because I needed some air. Put some headphones in, listen to some sad music, and just try and process what I just witnessed. Because it was 10 times worse than the last doctor's appointment, especially as I was on my own as well this time. So I didn't have any backup, which I think now, because I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to give up, like, now that I've just got a second opinion. I don't think it was really a second opinion. Like, I'm not going to give up. I'm going to keep fighting until I get to the bottom of this. But I think as I keep fighting, I'm going to bring someone with me, just so then I just don't cave in, because it's so personal to me. I cave in the minute someone, you know, starts to question it or tell me I'm making it up or whatever. I will cave in, and I need someone there to be like, right, no, she obviously has something. You need to sort this out. You need to figure out what she's got, or at least help her, or at least give her some, you know, positive encouragement. You know, don't just tell her she's making it up, or, you know, she's not doing it because she's not got it because she's managed to suppress it for 2.5 minutes. Like, it's ridiculous. And I think especially, I don't know, like, I think there seems to be some really poor understanding of what constitutes whether you have tics or whether you have Tourette's. Like, I went on the NHS website earlier, the NHS, you know, the British NHS website, and it says on there that on the NHS definition, it says that most children, a lot of children even, will have what's called transient tics. So they'll, you know, like when you're developing and stuff like that, you're more likely to get, you know, some sort of tic. But if you grow out of it, it's a transient tic. To diagnose Tourette's is it has to be, your tics have to be present for 1 year, at least 1 year, and you have to have at least one vocal tic. So just one. And I mean, I don't agree with definitions, because I feel like, especially with this, it's quite a spectrum. Like, people that have Tourette's can have all sorts of different symptoms at once. Like, you can't pigeonhole it into, you know, you must have one of this tick, one of this tick, one of this tick, and you must do this, and therefore you have Tourette's. Like, it doesn't work like that. And I'll just read you some other stuff from this NHS website. So, you can have vocal or motor tics. For anyone who doesn't know about this, you can have vocal or motor tics, simple or complex. So, like, ones for me, personally, like, I've got, I sniff, which is a simple vocal tic. It's making a noise. And then I've got simple motor tics. So eye blinking is a motor tic. It doesn't make any noise, but it's, you know, a muscle movement. And a neck twitch, which is also a simple one. You can also get complex tics. So that's like, they're like a series of movements, or even like repeating words and stuff. So there's a load of different complicated names for different things. But I remember actually, like, when I was younger, and I still do it now, and I never knew about it, like, some complex tics, there's one called palileia, I think it is, which is basically repeating like the end of a sentence. And I've been doing this without realising what it is for years. I don't even know when I first started doing this. I don't do it a lot. Like, with my tics, especially me, like, they're like a cycle. Like, I'll start a new tic maybe every 5 or 6 months, and then, like, I'll recycle tics. Like, I won't have the same set of tics all the time. Like, they'll come and go on like a 6-8 month cycle. It depends. Like, for instance, I used to have a tic where I'd do this with my fingers, but that's gone. I don't know why, but it's gone, and I haven't got it back yet. But yeah, so I've been doing this, like, repeating the end of sentences and stuff. Whenever I watch a movie, like, if I watch it on my own, like, I'll pause the movie and just repeat it. And I never really knew why I was doing it. I just thought it was normal. But then, I'm not saying that I have palileia, palilalia, or whatever, palilalia, I think it is. But it's definitely something I've done before. So I'm not really sure why I'm not really sure why I'm not getting my point across with doctors. Maybe I'm not being that vocal with them, maybe I'm not communicating enough with them. But for what a definition goes from the NHS, considering this is an NHS doctor, sorry, but if you know, Tourette's is classified as present for 1 year and you have to have at least one vocal tic, I tick that. Excuse the pun, I tick that box. You know? And for people to not even want to even go down that route of at least figuring out whether I do or don't, because at this point I still don't know if I do or don't. I'm not completely adamant that I do, but I want to be, you know, I don't want someone to just say you don't have them because I can't be bothered to treat you, because I'd rather have someone, you know, with flu or a cold or something come in, because then I can just give them a load of medication and off on their way, because that's how the NHS works. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know where I'm going with this. I think what I want to say about this video is, please, for anyone who's watching this video and it hasn't got to the doctors yet, do not use my personal experience, and don't let it scare you off. Like, I'm quite fortunate that I have quite mild tics. Like, I can control them quite well. I'm not going to say easily because it's not easy, but I can control them quite well and for quite a long time. Like, I can go maybe 2, 3, 4 minutes ish without doing it. It depends on situations a lot. But yeah. But some people might have more severe tics than I do, and for people like that, maybe they'll go into a doctor. The doctor will immediately see that they have Tourette's or they have a twitch, whatever, and immediately get diagnosed. Like, it could be as simple as that. Everyone is different with this. Everyone is different. And it's a lot more common than people think. I've read some studies that apparently like 1 in 4 children have some tics some time in their life. Yeah, which I thought, that blew my mind. I thought it was like really rare, but it's not. Like, loads of people get it. Loads and loads and loads of people get it. And therefore, it should be a lot more known about. If loads of people are getting it, doctors and nurses and all that should know more about it. And I don't understand why. And I don't understand at the age of 21 that people are not thinking that I've got something, something's gone wrong in my brain or whatever. That some, I don't know, neurotransmitters aren't working or whatever, just because I haven't been diagnosed. Like, you hear stories online that some people get diagnosed with like Tourette's or tics when they're in their like 40s or 50s, because back then when they were young it wasn't known about at all, really. So just because I haven't been diagnosed as a kid does not like, concrete mean that I haven't got it. And I want that to be the take-home message of this video. If you have not been diagnosed yet, that does in no way mean that you do not have it. Okay? Does not mean it. Don't let a doctor tell you that. Don't let a doctor fob you off. Because they have a tendency to do that, because it's a very difficult syndrome to be diagnosed with. And a lot of doctors, I'm being real here, a lot of doctors would rather just go, nah, you're just stressed, go and, have a nap, do some meditation and just go away. That's, realistically, that is what a lot of doctors will do now. And you just have to find the right one. You just have to keep going. Do not give up. You've got to keep going and keep getting another opinion, another opinion, another opinion, until there's one doctor who will listen to you and who will understand that you're not making it up. This is something that seriously affects your life and that will help you. And that is what I intend to do. I will keep fighting this, and I will keep going to different doctors and getting a different opinion until someone listens to me. Because I'm not about to be told that for the past 17 years I've been making it up, or, I've been putting it on for attention or whatever like that. Because I tell you what, if I had been making it up, I'd have got bored with making it up and wanting attention by it long ago. That's not in my personality at all. If I had the ability to control it and stop it, I'd have controlled it and stopped it, because it would have made my life a lot easier. So yeah. That's the take-home message of this video. Sorry it was a bit ranty, but yeah, I just wanted to keep it nice and real with you guys. It's not like happy bunnies and roses all the time with this kind of thing. Like, within the tics and Tourette's community, there's a lot of understanding, a lot of awareness. Obviously, there's people that I'm part of a forum now, and the people on there are so helpful. They're so helpful. We'll talk. It's so easy to talk to them about stuff, and it makes you feel like you're not the only person in the world that has it. And it's so nice. Like, I've been part of this forum for a week now, and I've learnt more and felt more comfortable about it than I have in the past 17 years. It's been great. It really, really has. So yeah, within the community, there's so much awareness, so much knowledge as well, so much knowledge. We could run rings around some of these doctors, but outside our little community, it's a big world out there, and there's a lot of people that don't know what they're talking about. Truly and honestly, I'm not a doctor, but I tell you what, if I was, I'd be a lot more open to discussing this with my patients than a lot of the doctors that are employed nowadays are. So yeah, that's my very real sit down chat, catch up with you guys. Next, I think I'm going to do one of these a week, so maybe like at the weekend I might do another video. So the next video I do, I'm thinking I'm going to do some sort of like tips and tricks video on how I make myself feel more comfortable in public situations, what makes my tics worse, what makes them better, you know, I don't know, what foods also can help, what foods don't help me, what make them worse, what make them better, that kind of thing. So it'll be a bit of a, like maybe a haul kind of thing, I don't know, like a food haul kind of, I don't know. But yeah, if you want to see if, I mean, they might not work for you, but things that work for me might work for you, so stay tuned for that video, because it will come up probably about a week's time. So yeah, don't give up, keep fighting for it, and join some forums. They're good, they're really nice. You guys will get a lot of support. So yeah, until next week, bye guys.